Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Irv Homer Show, Wednesday, May the 6th, 2009. We do the show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tonight we have no guests. That means you are the guests of the program tonight. We have a chat room available for you to ask questions, make comments, and we have a telephone number where you can call in at 215-253-8877, 215-253-8877. This day in history, folks, is amazing. John Deere produced the first steel plow in 1833, and he's been digging up the earth ever since. The Yale lock was patented in 1851. So far, the Harvard lock hasn't been patented yet. The Paris Exposition opens with the just completed Eiffel Tower as its centerpiece in 1889. This I remember, in fact, visited 2 days after it occurred. The dirigible, the Hindenburg, folks, exploded into flames at Lakehurst Naval Air Base in New Jersey in 1937. Having been alive in that day, my dad took me 2 days after it occurred and saw the devastation that was there. And the tunnel that links England and France officially opened in 1994 on this day, May the 6th. So that is the day in history. We're broadcasting from the IrvHomerShow.com. My website, if you care to check it out from time to time, is www.irvhomer.com. And you can email me with your comments about the program, about something you want introduced, at evilirv@irvhomer.com. RGH Computer Services puts all of this together for your computer problem at 215-322-8685, 215-322-8685, and the Ron Tech Show is listed on the website, so you can check out when that is on. I have to tell you about a new television program, not mine, but is appearing on MSNBC at 6 o'clock at night on the East Coast. I don't know what time it would be in your community or your area, but it is called The Ed Show. A fellow by the name of Ed Schultz, who I met many, many, many years ago, is offering an alternative to the right-wing garbage that is on the cable networks. So I invite you to check into The Ed Show, 6 o'clock at night on MSNBC. On my Comcast is channel 44. I don't know what yours will be. But the Ed Show proves once my position on the fairness doctrine. And you know, you've heard the right-wing bloviators, oh, they're going to take us off the air, they're going to censor the radio, they're crazy. I mean, Limbaugh, and they're totally nuts. They're reactionaries. They're crazy people. And including Michael Savage, who I'll get into a little later. But these people are nuts. And they get people stirred up and blah. The Ed Show is typical of what I consider to be the fairness doctrine. I don't want any of these guys taken off the air. I just want someone else on the air, on cable, on Fox, on MSNBC, to present a different point of view. That's all. That, in my opinion, is being fair. Taking Limbaugh and taking those folks off the air is not fair. But having another point of view presented by the Ed Show, Ed Schultz's last name is a real, true test of what fairness is. Now, Keith Olbermann is a little wackadoo. And Rachel Maddow, who was supposed to be on MSNBC, in the beginning she was pretty good, but now she's a chatterbox. She's a left-wing Ann Coulter. Blah, 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 blah. Can't understand what the hell she's saying. But I do invite you, if you're looking for an alternative to the Limbaugh Hannity type of program, to catch the Ed Show, 6 o'clock on the East Coast time on MSNBC, and you may find him very interesting. I don't know how many of you folks gamble. It's none of my business. Whatever you want to do to, quote, have fun by losing money is all right with me. as long as you don't steal it from me. But there was an interesting study done on the near miss concept and how when you nearly miss on the slot machine, how it activates the same reward circuitry in your head as if you won. And since it's my program, I'll do it anyway. If you're interested, fine. If you're not, turn the damn thing off. I don't care. And they have a little diagram here that shows you, but it's not important for you to see the diagram. The computer display here shows the subjects that experience a near miss because the banana on the second reel stopped for 1%. Anyway, close folks only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but that the gambling brain almost hitting the slot machine jackpot may be just as good as actually winning. A study appearing in the February 12th Neuron magazine suggests the results may help explain the gambling allure. Now, once again, I'm not against gambling. I'm not against slot machines. I'm not against casinos. But if you think it's fun to put your money on a crap table or on a roulette wheel or in a slot machine and anticipating you're going to win, like you play the lottery, fine, go ahead. I don't care what. It's your money. You do what you want with it. So I'm not anti-gambling. I just want to inform you of things that I find interesting when it comes to gambling. This is a very elegant study, comments Mark Potenza, an addiction psychiatrist at Yale University. From a public health and clinical perspective, this is very important. When all three cherries hit the pay line and money pours out of a slot machine, select regions of the brain activate. That's called the reward pathway. Brain cells in these regions signal pleasure by releasing and detecting the feel-good chemical messenger called dopamine. The same areas are recreated and recruited by natural rewards like chocolate, drugs by abuse like cocaine. Brains in people who almost won, on a study here on the bottom row shows a brain scan of both someone who won and someone who nearly won. Brains in people who almost won had activation in similar regions of the reward pathway as people who won. Luke Clark et al. Neuron, February the 12th, 2009. It turns out that the same brain areas probably activate when only 2 out of 3 cherries hit the pay line. Means you're close to winning. Clark and his colleagues wanted to understand why a person will keep feeding money into the slot machine even though the house usually wins, and most people who play slot machines know that. The researchers turned to gamblers who nearly won but didn't. The near miss is quite a paradoxical event, Clark says. Gamblers who almost win put their head down in their hands. They can't believe it. Oh, almost won. The next thing they do is to place another bet. In the experiment, gamblers won about 75 cents each time 2 icons on reels aligned on a computer monitor resembling a slot machine. Subjects won no money if the icons almost lined up. Using the same brain imaging technique called fMRI, the researchers found that the same reward pathway in the brain activates with a near miss as activates with an actual win. Subjects reported near misses as highly unpleasant experiences, but also that the near misses made them want to gamble more. Interestingly, this effect was stronger when players thought they were able to control the gambling game by choosing which icons appeared in the reel. When the computer chose the icons, the effect diminished, highlighting the importance of feelings of control. Being rewarded for almost winning is likely useful in some situations, Clark says. For some tasks, such as learning to kick a soccer ball into a goal, firing an arrow at a target, near misses are informative. Because in these situations, when you kick a soccer ball into a goal and just about miss, or fire at a target and nearly miss, it's information. You are acquiring the skill, and the brain should pay attention to near misses. However, in gambling, almost winning has no effect on the next pull of the lever or the roll of the dice. Games of chance tell you nothing about future success, he says. So it seems that gambling has somehow hijacked the brain's reward system. The finding could help in understanding brain pathways that lead to gambling addiction. The researchers are currently stirring the brains of problem gamblers to see whether near misses activate the same pathway to a greater extent. What it basically says, folks, that when you're throwing quoits, and you almost hit it on the cake, you can improve your skill and get that horseshoe on the ring. When you're firing at a target, you can improve your skill. That's a near miss, but then you can learn how to hit the bullseye. But you can't do that with gambling. It doesn't work the same way. So the near miss and shooting at a bullseye will give you that dopamine high in your brain, because you know that with your skill you'll be able to hit the bullseye. However, it doesn't work that way in gambling. Yet the brain don't know whether the near miss in shooting a gun at a target or hitting a slot machine doesn't know the difference. So it triggers that brain pathway that they're talking about. I found that extremely, extremely interesting. Let me see where to go with this thing now. You have any comments? Our chat room is available, and our phone number, 215-253-8877. The talk show host, a fellow by the name of Michael Savage, is outraged over the fact that he has been banned from visiting England. And he is considering legal action against Britain's top Homeland Security officials after they included him with terrorists and neo-Nazis who are banned from entry because the government believes their views might provoke violence. Now, Michael is all upset. How dare them not allow me in England? Blah, 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 blah. I don't know how much... Oh, he admits that he had never been there in the last 20 years. And so he's all outraged over this. Well, England and countries have a right to ban anybody they want to, including you. But he's all bent on saying, sign the petition, block the government attacks on free speech and freedom of the press, blah, 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 blah. Michael, you're not banned from America. You're banned from England. Learn that all countries establish their own precedent as to who comes in and who doesn't come in. Now, what Michael Savage doesn't know, or care to know, that England has a big problem with a Muslim population. And I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have it here. We are not immune to the influence of Islam in America. I don't know what I ate, but whatever it is, making me thirsty. I have spent, I would say, 25 years studying Islam and how Islam works, and why Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. I repeat, the fastest growing religion in the world. There are more converts to Islam than Catholicism, Judaism, and the other proselytizing religions. Christianity, you name it. But there's no fear, although there is, of religions wanting to take over governments. There's no question in my mind that an atheist will never be the president of the United States. Oh, we believe that the United States is a free country. Forget about it. Ain't never going to see an atheist president of the United States. I know we have a black president, but we ain't going to get no atheists ever president of the United States. So we really don't believe what we preach. And maybe Michael Savage should realize that too, because if there were an atheist running as an independent that has 90% of the answers to the problems of this country, our Judeo-Christian country wouldn't allow him to be the president of the United States. So let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. This program is based on honesty and truth, not on bullshit. response on our website, the same phenomena happens to Rush Limbaugh listeners. They constantly wait Rush to say something really true, but they're routinely fed half-truth, therefore an addiction to Rush. Of course, Rush Limbaugh is a master of half-truths, as is Hannity, as is Michael Savage, as a lot of them. No one will ever get on the air and ask Rush Limbaugh how many children he raised, because he don't have any. No one will ever ask him if he was a drug addict and how did he kick it. And no one will ever ask him, how come you're not married? Are you gay? So the half-truths of the hypocritical Limbaugh followers and Limbaugh himself is why he's the leader of the Republican Party. Because as much as the Republican Party denies that Rush Limbaugh is the spokesperson for the Republican Party, he is the spokesperson for the Republican Party. There isn't one Republican congressman or senator would dare say anything in opposition to what Rush says for fear that he will attack them. Now, if that's not being the voice of the Republican Party, I don't know what is. And that's why the Republican Party will not win as long as he is on the air. I don't want to remove from the air. But unless the Republican Party has the courage to stand up with Michael Steele, who is the head of the RNC, and say, under no circumstances does Rush Limbaugh speak for the Republican Party, they're going to lose. Well, on our website, Irv, I read that those who have a gambling personality also have a high sex drive, instant satisfaction, not content. You're probably right, Dan. You're probably right. There is a dopamine response, I guess, in the brain that requires that challenge. And that's very possible. So let's go back to the Republican Party and why they're crying. They're going to restructure, have a bigger tent. Well, we have a bigger tent. It means we're going to have to have gays in there. It means we're going to have to have blacks in there. It means we're going to have atheists in there. We're going to have pro-choice people in there. They're not going to fit in the Republican tent as long as Limbaugh is on the air. Period. So I am waiting for some courageous Republican to stand up on the House floor, the Senate floor, including Michael Steele, and say, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, no one is a spokesperson for the Republican Party except the party itself. So you guys are deader than a doornail. Irv, the difference between U.S. and Britain or any other European nation is that the U.S. is based on the premise of accepting immigrants. The U.S. is an immigration nation. Our country was built on immigration. But if you take a look at what is immigrating into America, we don't like it. So we do have an immigration policy, but it is based on need for certain ethnicities, certain religions, and certain cultures. America is not, if you study the history of the American immigration policy, Bob, you will see that America's immigration policy was based on need, not on give us your poor, you're tired, you're yearning to be free, as stated on the Statue of Liberty. That's bullshit. Watching an interesting movie the other night with my dear friend Shirley, and it was about building a railroad through a community where this western community did not want the railroad. And there was a tunnel being built, and the farmers and the ranchers that did not want that railroad coming through their community fought back with dynamite and blowing up the railroad tracks. And in one scene, it showed a tunnel with workers in the tunnel. They got killed when the explosion went off, placed by the ranchers. And I said, what did you see about that tunnel? Oh, people working there, they got killed. What did you see? Think carefully what you saw building that railroad in the tunnel. Well, I don't know. What are you talking about? Did you see workers with coolie hats on? Yeah. What were Chinese coolies doing building the railroad? Oh, I didn't think of that. Our immigration policy toward the Chinese was to bring them over for slave labor to build our railroads. That was part of the American immigration policy. We opened up the immigration to the Irish because we needed cops. Take a look now, ladies and gentlemen, at the name of most policemen around the country. They're all Irish. Right here in Philadelphia, we lost 5 police officers, 4 of them with Irish names. And their fathers and their cousins are police officers. Take a look at the concrete men, the stonemasons, the men that work with their hands on tools. All Italian. Opened up the immigration policy to Italians who were craftsmen. We needed machinists, we needed engineers, and so we recruited through our immigration effort Germans, scientists, men who knew the technology because Germany had been one of the countries that had already gone through their industrial revolution. And so we recruited those folks. Why did they bring Jews in? They realized that during the revolution, actually the War of Independence, because we never had a revolutionary war, we needed men who could finance the revolution, the War of Independence. Many Jews don't even know how come they became so efficient and proficient in the field of money. Are there any Jews listening to this? You know why we Jews became so skilled as part of our heritage in learning the use of money and currency? We'll see how smart the Jews are if there's any listening to this program. Get on the website or call me at 215-253-8877. Even the Jews don't know. The blatant ignorance, ladies and gentlemen, of our immigration policy in America can only be done by studying the immigration policy of the United States and the history of how our people here in Washington, former presidents going back to the 1800s, knew the type of person we needed to make America work. Bringing in the Chinese to build the railroads, bringing in the craftsmen of Italy, the stonemasons, the engineers from Germany, the cooks from Italy, the winemakers from Italy, the musicians from Italy, a country that has turned out more singers than any other country on the planet. So our immigration policy, when you say we're a country of immigrants, was a designed and planned immigration policy thanks to the founding fathers and their skill in setting up the Bureau of Immigration and Naturalization on who to bring into this country. Learn something new on the Irv Homer Show? Of course you do. A lot of complaints, ladies and gentlemen, about the swine flu scare. The swine flu scare. And now the alert has kind of calmed down a little bit. And the bloviators are still screaming out, oh, 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 oh. But suppose, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't do that. And your child died of the swine flu. Or one of Sean Hannity's kids died of the swine flu. There would be hell to pay. They can't stop the immigrants from coming across the Mexican border. I can hear Hannity screaming, and they didn't do a damn thing about stopping the pandemic of the swine flu coming across the Mexican border. I can hear this idiot screaming and shouting. Of course, Libo don't have to worry, because I don't think he has enough sperm in his pecker to make a baby. so he don't have to worry about a child. But they never criticized the man who may want to run for the Senate seat in the state of Pennsylvania, a fellow by the name of Tom Ridge, who, when he was the head of Homeland Security, wanted everybody to buy duct tape and plastic and gave us a color code as to the threat of danger. Remember? I'll bet you some of you people still have duct tape and plastic when there was no evidence or proof whatsoever anywhere that we were going to get attacked again after 9/11. So the Limbaugh'ites, and I use his name, promoting his program, because I think that idiocy deserves a hearing, never mentioned that although the swine flu scare may have been idiotic and the possibility that the flu may break out in a recombinant virus hitting us in the fall, hitting us in the middle of summer, never mentions his Republican colleague Tom Ridge, who's scared to be jabbers out of this by going out and buying duct tape and plastic. Right? See, my memory serves me pretty good for an old fart like me. And that's why these guys can't get away with what they get away with. So how many of you still have duct tape and plastic? Do you know the color code is still in operation? And how ridiculous the Limbaugh'ites who supported Tom Ridge and Donald Rumsfeld, Paul Wolfowitz, Dick Cheney, President Bush, we better get duct tape and plastic, and then we'll plastic up our houses and our bathrooms and any window opening. We'll find a place in a basement to hide. So everybody went out and they bought plastic and they bought duct tape, and we were all set. That idiocy by Tom Ridge never mentioned. And I like Tom Ridge. I'm talking about the idiots on the air. How many of you people know anything about Islam? If so, get on the chat room and tell me what you know about it. Like I thought, nothing. How about the telephone, 215-253-8877? What do you know about Islam? Why is it the fastest growing religion in the world? Okay, what was the batting average of Wally Moses when he played for the A's? What was Hank Aaron's batting average? I bet you know that. What about Schulte when he played for the Flyers? Bernie Parent. How many saves did Bernie Parent make in his lifetime? Ah, Boobus America, God bless you all. But the Islamists know how stupid you are. The Islamists know how stupid you are. And they know that you're not watching the growth of Islam. All you hear about from the bloviators are the militant Islamists, the militant Muslims. Islam, ladies and gentlemen, is a fundamental change of life. Islam has taken over the biggest percentage of Europe and England. And that is why Michael Savage, who doesn't know the first damn thing about Islam, is not permitted to get into England. Not because they equate him with David Duke of the neo-Nazi party, but because Michael Savage, on his program, has constantly attacked the militant Islamists. The militant Islamists. Do you know that in America we have 2 Islam banks that are not federally insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation? and do not charge interest for loans? Okay? I repeat, there are 2 Islam banks in New York whose deposits run into the billions. The money is not insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Company, and they charge no interest on their loans. You didn't know that, did you? And you're not going to hear from the bloviators. John has a message on our chat room. It says, Ridge is a nice guy, but when I tried to bring Eastern Airlines back home to Pennsylvania, he and Ed Rendell thumbed their noses at me. Well, John, I can only say that I believe you. I have no way of, disproving that you're right. But Ridge is a political animal, as is most politicians. And it's very possible that a Republican like Tom Ridge and a Democrat like Ed Rendell did work together. But let's talk about Islam, folks. First of all, Islam has a militant wing, which are the militant Muslims that took down the World Trade Center. They also have an economic policy in their religion. They have a religious part of their Islam and a political end of their religion and their philosophy. So that when in England and France and Spain and Germany, Italy are now facing Islam, they are fighting not only a radical militancy, but since some of these countries profess to be democratic, one man, one vote, opportunity to be, they are not satisfied until you politically think as an Islamist, you religiously think as an Islamist, you deal financially as an Islamist, and you adhere to the judiciary of Islam. There are 4 parts of Islam which can give a preponderance of population of Islamists in a country a complete peaceful takeover. Michael Savage doesn't know the problem that England has with Islamists. Many of you have no idea what it's like. But for those who travel there, and for the governments of those countries that profess freedom, equality, one man, one vote, they know what it's like. They know what it is like when a Islamist commits a crime and the whole Islam community gathers around that alleged criminal and punishes them before the courts of England can get to them under their own judiciary, the laws of Sharia. They have their own judicial, prosecutorial entity within Islam. They can cut off your hand if you steal. They can kill an adulterer. That's the laws of Sharia. And they don't care about the laws of the country. Dearborn, Michigan, that I've mentioned many, many times on the program, the courts are still debating whether or not the large Islamic community in Dearborn, Michigan, through bells, through loudspeakers, can have a 5-time a day prayer call on loudspeakers, because members of the Islamic faith pray 5 times a day. And with an anti-noise ordinance that they've established in Dearborn and in Detroit and other parts of Michigan where there is a high preponderance of Muslims, Their argument is, well, if the Catholics ring their church bells on Sunday and the decibel of that noise is louder than the anti-noise ordinances, it's discriminatory against us that we can't have prayer call 5 times a day. Now, in our country, we don't want to discriminate against anybody, right, folks? And they are going to win. Or the churches will be prevented from ringing their bells on Sunday morning. But the average Buddhist America doesn't study about the growth of Islam, don't care about the growth of it, and it is like Michael Savage will have you sign petitions because they won't live in Britain, they won't live in France, freedom of speech is being denied him, blah, 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 blah. And that is the danger of what is on the air today, and people who have built up this loyal core audience of nitwits. Now, I must say that I know a lot of people who listen to these guys for comic relief. Sometimes it's better than the Colbert Report. But what I do on my weekly daily program and on this program is to try to get you to think for yourself. It's a difficult thing to do, but it can be done, because every once in a while I get an email and say, geez, everybody didn't think of that. So instead of talking about baseball scores or football scores or whether or not somebody's going to do something, you better be careful. What the hell about our own country? We need to embrace the principles of our own Constitution. To paraphrase Benjamin Franklin, we should all hang together, or together we shall hang separately. Well, no question, John. There has to be a commonality of purpose in any organization. You can maintain your independence, you can maintain your pro-life stand, you can maintain your pro-choice stand, you can maintain your religious belief, but there has to be a commonality that guarantees that everyone can practice their faith or not practice their faith, or choose their sexual preference or not choose their sexual preference, without trying to infringe on the constitutional rights of all individuals. You want to be Catholic, you want to be Protestant, fine, God bless you. You want to be an atheist, God, you want to believe in creationism, fine. You want to believe in evolution, fine. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether the Big Bang Theory worked. I don't know whether God created human beings. I don't know whether we evolved from a fish. And you want to know something? I don't care. I am not going to fight with my neighbor over the fact that they may think that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I refuse to. And I don't want to fight to me because I don't want to fight with him. What the hell is it your business if you believe in Jesus Christ to tell anybody else that you believe in and that they're wrong? Who the hell are you to think that you're right? Human beings can be led, rather than admitting they just don't know anything or they don't know something, and actually admit they don't know. I don't do programs on global warming. I don't know what the hell has changed in the atmosphere. I don't know why the hell we've had 6 days of rain. Nobody can prove it to me that it's global warming or it's not global warming. I do know that if I go back of a car that's belching out stink, it stinks and it hurts my eyes and it hurts my nose, period. You should get the car fixed. It's offensive to me. But you've got these pro-green gases, you've got these anti-green gases, and are fighting. Neither one of them know what the hell they're talking about. And who cares? If it is bad for the health of people to have automobiles that belch crap out of their exhaust, then it's bad for your lungs, it's bad to smell. That can be scientifically proven. But it can't be scientifically proved. We've got a big hole in the ozone someplace, and who cares if there's a big hole in the ozone? Because you just don't know. As with the swine flu, I will take the word of the experts, but I also take the word of common sense. It says wash your hands, don't associate with people who sneeze and cough and belch in your face, and make sure that your waitress, when she comes out of the bathroom, says, did you wash your hands, son? I'll bet you none of you ever ask a waiter or waitress if they washed their hands after they peed. I won't do that, Irving. Why not? You're serving me my food. Did you wash your hands after you pooped? I want to know. So get the flu or get poop flu, whatever the hell you get. Question, should America pass a law that says we are based in Judeo-Christian roots and thus shall remain that way? No. This Judeo-Christian roots, with all due respect, Bob, is such bullshit. When did it become a Judeo-Christian country? I grew up as a Christian country. I don't know how the Jews managed to get the Judeo-Christian in there. Well, somebody became a Judeo. When I went to school, and I'm probably a lot older than you are, Bob, damn Jew was one word. I fought my way through Frankfurt High School, fighting good Christians who did not believe in the Judeo-Christian heritage of America, Bob. So you must be a lot younger than me. So don't give me this Judeo-Christian bullshit. Somewhere along the line, the Judeo-Christian concept got in there. In fact, many Christians don't even know that the first 5 books of the Bible is the Old Testament. Many Christians don't know that the 66 books of the Bible were not written by somebody who just sat down and wrote the 66 chapters. How long? I want to find out. How long did it take to finally complete the St. James Version of the Bible? 1 year, 2 years, 6 weeks? Who wrote it? Anybody know? You don't know. But you'll go to church and give your money to charity. I ain't going to go to the Cardinal Beverly and all that bullshit. You don't know anything. Boggles my mind. Irv, would you think that as this day and age, people would wake the hell up and see the handwriting on the wall? We need to get our act together and fast. What act are you referring to, John? I don't want people to get together in this country other than to save the whole concept of freedom in America, John. I am not my brother's keeper, so don't lay that crap on me. We as Americans have an obligation to other Americans, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, or anything else, to guarantee them their constitutional rights, period. If your house is on fire and I have a hose with water, I am not obligated to help you put your fire out. Common decency will. Common sense will. The only constitutional right I have is to make sure that my neighbor is guaranteed his constitutional rights. And that's all. But I am not my brother's keeper. If I want to be charitable, I will be charitable. I may not give just 10%. I may give 100%. I may give 90%. I may give 10%. But it ain't nobody's difference what the hell you do or what the hell I do. Stay the hell out of my business. I will stay the hell out of your business until you infringe on my constitutional rights to be a free man. Question on our chat room. Do we want to stem the rise of Islam in America? If so, what are we willing to do? It's not a question of whether you want to stem the rise of Islam in America or what you're willing to do. The first thing to do to solve a problem, my dear friend, is to recognize that there is one. Not wait until the last minute when you wake up and suddenly find that the America that you loved is no longer there. But to impress upon those who believe in Islam that we will give you the right to practice your religion, but we will not give you a right to reestablish a judiciary system that complies with your religion. We will not change our economic policy, and we certainly will not change our religious philosophy. But Islam is not satisfied with that. Islam is not satisfied with that. Islam wants everything. You must impress Islamists that you can practice your religion, but you will have to compromise, as Catholics compromise, as Christians compromise, on the day of rest. See, I grew up at a time when there were blue laws in the state of Pennsylvania. There were no movies, baseball games, football games, soccer games, department stores, grocery stores that were permitted to be open on Sunday in Pennsylvania. Did you hear what I just said? There were no department stores open. There were no stores open. There were no baseball games, and there were no movies in Pennsylvania. Look it up on your computer under blue laws and see what the hell it says. When I wanted to go to the movies on a Sunday, I had to drive to Trenton. New Jersey did not have blue laws. Of the 50 states, I don't know when the blue laws, or how many states had the blue laws, which were basically religious laws imposed upon the secular government by religionists who said Sunday shall be the day of rest and you will not have a movie open in America on Sunday. Now, under Islam, all of that will change. We have a secular government in America, ladies and gentlemen, not a religious government. We must maintain that secular government and impress those who are already here, Christian Jews, and especially Muslims, that our government is secular. There is no religious test that you must take. If you read the Constitution of the United States, there's no religious test that any politician must pass to be in the government. None. The self-imposed religious tests that are imposed by various religions are not constitutional. That's why Catholics are under pressure when they run for political office. Well, if you're pro-choice as a Catholic, you can't take communion. Well, why don't you just throw them out of the church? You take their money. If you're a Jew, you can't work on Saturday. If you're an Orthodox Jew. But we are a secular government and a secular country. We are not a religious country. Religion in America is voluntary. Irv, I am disgusted with the National Day of Prayer and the corroding separation of church and state. What I learned was this was passed into law in 1952. Where was the greatest generation who allowed this? You know where they were? Their finger was up their ass is where they were. Where was the greatest generation during World War II when we had a segregated army, my dear friend? And another myth is that we have no national holidays in America. Did you know that? It is unconstitutional in the United States to have a national holiday, especially based on religion. Christmas is not a national holiday. Yom Kippur is not a national holiday. Thanksgiving is not a national holiday. Now, I had one caller. They are legal holidays. A legal holiday means, by definition of constitutional law, that you can work on that day without being penalized. So if you want to have your store open on Christmas, you can. You want to have your movie open on Christmas, you can. You cannot be persecuted or fined because it is a legal holiday, not a national holiday. Communist countries, dictatorships have national holidays where you will demonstrate in the streets and in the squares. China has national holidays. Cuba has national holidays. All of this crap of national holidays in America is a lie. We have legal holidays so that if you want to work, the government cannot impose any penalty on you whatsoever. The trouble with a national day of prayer in America is if people who believed in prayer, people who believed in religion, were generous to those people who don't believe, allowing them their constitutional rights to be a non-believer without punishment, without discrimination, without condemnation, I would say fine. I have no problem with National Day of Prayer. It's one of the reasons I don't go to religious ceremonies for funerals and all that stuff. I'm not going to get up and down and 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 up and down like a yo-yo. I don't want anybody throwing water on me when I sit near the aisle or have to smell some dopey smoke. And I'm not going to sit in some place with a language I don't understand. But I get condemned because being true to my belief, I said, look, if that's what you want to do, God bless you, do it. Don't criticize me because I don't participate. That doesn't make you one damn bit better than me, or better than my neighbor, or better than your neighbor, because they don't want to participate. That's where the problem comes in. People who believe in this faith are always ready to condemn and criticize. Leave us alone. I won't infringe on your faith and belief. Stay away from mine. Irv, I read some information indicating the population trends reveal that Christian-based families are not producing at the rate of Islamists. Have you heard of this, or what do you think? Absolutely right. White America, both Christian and Jew, birth rate is about 1.5 children. However, minorities are having more children, Islamists have more children, and Orthodox Jews have a lot of children. There are Orthodox Jews that live in Crown Heights in New York that have 9 and 10 children. There are some here in Philadelphia that have 9 and 10 children. Yet, middle-class white people of all denominations, Christian, Jew, and everything else, and middle-class whites today who have achieved a certain amount of economic independence practice birth control, and they don't have kids. There are women today who are career women who don't have children at all. But there's no question that Muslims are increasing at a greater rate than Christians and Jews, and with the exception of Orthodox Jews, and some, I guess, fundamentalist Christians who don't believe in birth control, but for some reason or other, fundamentalist Christians don't have a lot of kids. So they must be practicing something or drinking a different type of water than I drink. Irv, another thing, they put In God We Trust on this phony money. Then there was a depression. Guess God was off that day in October of 1929. I suppose so. See, I don't bother God because he's busy with other stuff, but In God We Trust was put on our money in 1958. No, 1929. And Under God was put in the Pledge of Allegiance in 58. But you see, the reason that no one can now isn't it amazing, and this is Blues America at work, isn't it amazing that they never wanted to take or went into court, the American Civil Liberty Union, who I love dearly. I believe strongly in the American Civil Liberty Union. I'm not a card carrier, but I do donate to them. Isn't it funny that the American Civil Liberty Union would not take the case of In God We Trust off our currency? Anybody know why? Telephone number is 215-253-8877. And the chat room is available. Why would the American Civil Libertarian, who takes every case that is presented to them to court? To the telephone, good evening, how are you, whoever it may be?
Good evening, Irv. This
Good
is
evening.
Jim. How are you?
I'm fine, Jim. How about yourself?
Good. I just want to correct you. You've been right on a lot of stuff this evening. But actually, In God We Trust was first put on American coinage in 1864.
Right, in 1860. I was thinking of it under God in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right, because the first motto was God Our Trust. That was only on some coins for about a year. Then they changed it to In God We Trust. I think it first appeared on 2-cent piece in 1864.
And who put it there, and where would that coin originate from?
The coin originated in the U.S. Treasury Department, and I don't know, but it was under President Lincoln was alive at the time, and I think they put it on for morale purposes for the country at the time. It was
Right,
undergoing the end of the Civil War.
And that was before America's Central Bank.
Correct.
Thanks for calling.
You're welcome.
Take care, my friend. The reason that they will not challenge In God We Trust on the coin is it is printed on there by a private bank. Private banks can put anything it wants to on its currency without being challenged. Now, if it were American currency printed, coined, and regulated by the United States government, In God We Trust would not be permitted to be on our currency. So when the bloviators and folks in conversation get involved with you, well, In God We Trust is on our, they're trying to remove In God We Trust from our currency. Well, my dear friend, it isn't our currency. How these idiots on radio, television, talk radio, print journalists get away? Well, I know how they get away with it, because the public is stupid, with the exception of quarters like Jim at that time. But private banks can put anything they want to on their money. It's a private bank. So it cannot be challenged. Unless we become an educated society, if we read the concepts of what makes people free, how they remain free, you will be obligated and burdened with everything that comes down the pike. I do not believe in the concept that if you don't believe in something, you'll fall for everything. That's nonsense. Because what it should say was, if you question everything, you will never fall for anything. Not if you don't believe in something. My theory is, first you believe in yourself. First make sure that your head doesn't get in trouble with your heart, and don't do things that your heart wants that your head can't comply with. But the first thing you do to survive as a free person is to not obligate your brain with things that you don't question. So a person that questions things, folks, is a person that will remain free. Not necessarily object and fight and kill, but to be smart enough to how to circumvent the nonsense that people voluntarily impose upon themselves. Religion we impose upon ourselves. Political philosophy we impose upon ourselves. This we impose upon ourselves. We impose on things. Before you know it, your brain is so clogged up with crap that don't mean anything, you can't end up thinking for yourself. I have people say, you don't go to the ball game? What should I go to the ball game for? You can get tickets free. Yeah, I can get tickets free. I can get press tickets free. I don't go to the ball game. What am I going to see there? I can watch it on television. Hear a bunch of drunks yelling and screaming in my ear, fight the traffic on I-95, look for a parking space. You crazy? Never did it. wouldn't it be much more fun on a Sunday afternoon to play ball with a couple of the neighbors than pay somebody else to play ball? It's one of the reasons I don't watch pornography. Who wants to watch it? I'd rather do it. Right, guys? Huh? Make more sense? Why should I sit and watch pornography? How the other guy have fun? As I see the country going today, under Obama, under the Republicans, this country is doomed for failure. The real questions and the problems do not exist in this country. Maybe on Friday, I'm preparing a list of things that must be dramatically changed. They're not new concepts. This program, the Irv Homer Show, is dedicated to common sense, not bullshit. Not pies in the sky that my reward is good. If I die as a person, Jew, Christian, Muslim, whatever it might be, my reward in heaven will be great. That's the only reason you're good? So that when you die, you're going to go someplace where you allegedly are going to be fulfilled? Do good here because it's the thing to do, not because you're going to get some damn reward someplace that you don't know whether you're going to get it or not. Our prisons are full of people who believed. And when they found out that those beliefs were bullshit, they struck out some way against society. We'll go into some of the reason guys are in prison who I visited and spoke to. Maximum security to minimum security. There are levels of security in prison. Find out what made you commit a crime. What made you do that? Why did you rape? Why did you molest a child? What is the mechanism in your brain that triggers these things? And everyone that I've spoken to, and I would say about 25 in my life, believed in something, and when that belief was found to be bullshit, they struck back in some way in which, quote, a crime was committed. If you don't believe in yourself first, you're a loser. You can believe, but question. And when you question, nobody can control your mind. There are people who have been put in prison over the years and tortured because they would not comply or accept what some force wanted them to accept. They burnt the witches in Salem. This country, our founding fathers, burnt witches, burnt people who did not believe at the stake. And you want to know something? Almost nothing's changed. Given the opportunity, if you listen to the stories about torture and the excuses for torture, even under the most horrible conditions, these people have the stake-burning mentality that they had in the 1500s, the 1600s, the Salem witch trials. Believe if you want, but question. I'm Irv Homer. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. We'll see you on Friday with some things that I wanted to get into, but I didn't get a chance to get into tonight. So I will be on WBCB tomorrow. And one good thing in conclusion. I've made a statement that the average American does not like their family. Oh yeah, you don't like your family. Not only don't you like them, you don't trust them. And I can prove to you on this little program of mine that you don't trust your family. I may do that Friday night. I'm Irv Homer. We'll see you then. Have a good couple of days.